this morning's U.S. Bank Economic 360, U.S. Bank senior equity strategist Jim Russell joins us to talk about the global slowdown and the struggles with job growth over the past several years. Clearly, more work needs to be done to get people back to work and to provide economic opportunity to those seeking it. Now, it may surprise some to know where the U.S. stacks up and how we fare relative to smaller countries. Jim, good to have you with us.
Good morning, sir.
We appreciate you and U.S. Bank. So we know that the U.S. economy remains the largest economy in the world, but how do you see that changing some?
Yeah, the times they are changing, Brian, and I think it's going to come as a surprise. And some of this data is going to be maybe a little bit uncomfortable for our viewers to watch. And that is, while Europe is the largest economic entity on the face of this planet, and the U.S. remains the largest country in terms of economic growth, and Japan number 3, those 3 countries have really suffered over the last, call it 8-10 years, and in the case of Japan, 20 years, with very slow economic growth. And as you can see on the screen, you'll see that several of the emerging market countries are now expanding to a point where they're going to be way more influential in terms of the global economic output than the well-known countries of the U.S., Europe, Japan, and other large countries. So I'm talking about countries such as Vietnam, South Korea, Thailand, Malaysia, really rapidly growing countries, ones that we're going to hear a lot more about. And in fact, they're going to be much more influential as we move forward.
So what do you think U.S. business leaders really need to know and to focus on as they look at this global growth profile?
This is going to be an interesting dynamic, and we were talking about Procter & Gamble earlier in the show. Surely they're focused on there. I know a lot of our other local business leaders are already there as well. As these emerging market countries begin to exert influence in the global stage, what you're going to see is a shift in global spending patterns. And also shown on the screen here is a really stark diagram. And what you see in green are the middle class spending patterns of different geographies. You see North America, see Europe there. That's the current. But what you see in the purple are the anticipated global middle class spending plans as we move forward. Those are the anticipated middle class spending in the year 2030, very clearly dominated by Southeast Asia, again, China, Vietnam, South Korea, Malaysia, Thailand. That is going to be where the global growth is going to be centered, shifting away from Europe, shifting away from the United States to a degree, maybe towards some of these other countries. So clearly, companies need to be positioned there.
Jim, aside from economics, are there other changes that business leaders and consumers need to be looking for?
I think there's not only business leader and consumer issues pending as we maybe peer into this brave new world, but there's political, military, and trade issues as well. Already, China is signing deals with, let's just say, countries that we're not best friends with. Call it Venezuela, Russia, a few of the others for commodity supplies. So there's going to be a different dynamic, both military, political, that is going to shift the power struggle just a little bit. For example, President Obama next month will be the Chinese leader, not in Washington, but in California, because the Chinese leader would like to meet there. So who's calling the shots, who's not? Maybe the times they are changing.
Indeed they are. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate you and U.S. Bank.
Yes, sir.